Hey guys, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. This video is proudly brought to you by the House of Cards, the official sponsor of my stream. Be sure to check out the link in the description below for all of your Flesh and Blood needs. It's no surprise to anyone that the Guardian Mirror is a grindier and longer game. But one of the questions I would pose to you is, how do you win the Guardian Mirror? The Guardian Mirror is one just like any other matchup. You have to have tempo to win the game, and you have to push damage. So the way to push damage is with go-again attacks. Now, Guardian isn't traditionally known for its go-again attacks, so cards like Zealous Belting and Rouse the Ancients help us out on this front. It's important that after you use cards like Zealous Belting and Rouse the Ancients to take the tempo, you have to make sure that you're using cards like Pulverize and Righteous Cleansing to continue to push tempo and stay on the front foot. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoy the match. The Victor Mirror. This should be a lot of fun. I'm really curious to see how this plays out. It's interesting to me that my opponent opened Balance of Justice into me, and they also opened the Grindstone and the Aurum Aegis. I am intrigued by this. It makes me wonder if they're really looking to play a lot of fatigue here, to play if maybe they're playing a heavy fatigue list. I would think that if they were on a heavier fatigue list, they might be on the sledge list that I saw people playing for a while. I don't know. There's definitely some differences here in the list, so we'll see. We'll see what we find here. We're definitely just going to block this. We're just going to give 2 cards to block this out. We'll give the Vigor and the Chokeslam here. I want to be able to keep some bigger cards in my deck. All right, our opponent has a red Thunderquake on top, so we have a blue Debilitate, which means we're going to be able to throw our Thunderquake. Worst case scenario, so if we draw into a blue and then to a red, we'll probably just throw the Thunderquake and arsenal our red here. Really depends on what we draw. I do like being able to arsenal this, so we could make a surge and throw this and then arsenal this, but I think we're better off just throwing the Thunderquake here and then setting up to arsenal the Chokeslam here. But the fact that our opponent is playing Balance of Justice into us tells me that they do not have Crown of Providence. It tells me that they are not running Crown of Providence in their list, so... Ooh, they left in Trounce and Test of Strength against me. That is really interesting. It's worth noting that if they fail one of the clashes on the Trounce and they break the shield, they are only blocking for 7, which means they do take 3. So it is worth noting that. Let's go ahead and resolve the Trounce. So they revealed a Golden Sun. I revealed a Rouse and then revealed Clash of Might, and they revealed Test of Strength. So they did break their shield. Okay. I don't think they understand that they don't still get the value out of it here. But okay, so they win that, draw their Zealous Belting. And then Thunderquake and a Clash of Might. Okay, so our opponent is actually able to turn around, break their shield. They take 3, and then they're able to have a pretty aggressive turn here. The Zealous Belting could give them a pretty strong turn going into this here. So we'll see what happens. We know they have a red Thunderquake on top, which means this is extremely unfortunate. The fact that we have 2 Clash of Mights and a Clash of Vigor in our hand is extremely unfortunate for us. That's really not where we want to be at all. As far as, getting this set up. This is knowing there's a red Thunderquake on top of their deck. This makes this very bad for us. So I'm curious to see what they come in with here. We're probably just gonna block with a Clash of Vigor. I would rather them have a resource than the Might tokens. And then we'll put 2 Clash of Mights back into our deck. This is some pretty bad draws here for us pretty early on. So them winning the Clashes isn't that crazy to me. That's not that crazy to me to think that they won that they broke a shield and then won both the clashes. I have changed my deck a little bit, so okay, so they make a surge and then come in for 6 go again. So am I just gonna give up the Vigor and the Command and Conquer here, and then I kind of like to, I want to be able to play CNC Pummel here, but yeah. So we have a red Macho Grande on top that we're going to give up if we let the hammer hit. Okay, so they're not going to throw the hammer. They're just going to come in for 8. And this is fine. I think I'm just going to take 8 and go to 32 here. They had a good hand, a good explosive turn. So we're going to make a surge and then crack back for 8 also here. The Chokeslam, like, that they resolved is irrelevant here. Like, if we had tried to set up like a CNC Pummel or something, then that would have been different. But the only thing that I don't like about this hand is, like, this is a hand that the way we knew it was set up that we weren't going to be blocking with. So we knew that, like, we knew we weren't going to want to block because they had a red Thunderquake on top that they had showed us from the turn before. So, okay. I'm curious to know if they crack a gold here to put their card on the bottom. Or if they put my card on the bottom, maybe. I don't know. Like, they have a 6 on top, so, like, there's a lot of ties here. Like, this is an interesting decision point from them. I'm curious to see what they decide to do here. Okay. Well, that is unfortunate. So they get the gold and they get their blue Chokeslam. Our opponent is getting a lot of value here off of their clashes very early, and, like, there's not really much I can do about it here. This hand is honestly abysmal. Like, the way our hands are coming together, like, we're definitely getting got by the Talishar algorithm right now. Like, there's nothing else to it. Like, our last hand was 2 Clash of Mights, a Clash of Vigor, and then a Command and Conquer, and now our hand is Rouse the Ancients, Pummel, Staunch, and Zealous Belting. Like, this is not a good hand at all. Like, this is not where we want to be. The crazy part is, like, even if I block with the 3 cards in Arsenal to Staunch Response, like, I'm still in a spot where I am, like, you know, I'm taking a lot of damage here because all my cards only block for 2. So, like, we have to decide what we want to do here. Like, is this a crown hand? Are we looking at, you know, like, giving up, like, I don't know, like, equipment here? I don't really want to give up equipment this early on in the process, but like, this might be a throw Staunch, pitching Zealous and Rouse here, and then Arsenal the Pummel, and we can try to set up an explosive Pummel turn here where we really try to get some value out of our opponent here. So I think we'll just play into the Staunch. Dominate isn't a big thing in this matchup as far as the mirror is concerned, so I'm not super worried about, like, you know, making sure I have a Staunch Response in Arsenal. If this were Bravo, I would just be blocking 6 and then arsenaling the Staunch here would almost immediately be my line of play. But, you know, since they're not playing Bravo and there's not a lot of Dominate in this matchup, we're gonna try and look for a flip turn here where we can try and flip the game upside down here. Like, pummeling the Chokeslam, really not that big of a thing. Like, that's really not that big for us. The only good thing that we could have going for us is if we do pummel the Chokeslam would be that we are able to like, you know, take a card out of their hand with the pummel effect, and after they block with a couple of cards, that might look pretty good for us. So also, if they throw a red Chokeslam at us here, then, like, it's not really going to matter. So more things to keep in mind here as the game go on. Also, pitching our 2 blues like this would be a horrible pitch stack. I mean, we're gonna block 3 here. Hope they don't have a pummel. Like, if they do, they do. It'd be very unfortunate because they would get quite a bit of points off of the fact that the buckling blow has a lot of damage. Would get 2 points off of our piece of equipment for us. So being able to, like, set that up that way was very valuable for us. I am gonna throw the Chokeslam and not make a surge here and represent the pummel and just kind of stare at them and, like, see what they do here, because how they block and what they decide to do moving forward here could tell us a lot about what they're looking at for their hand. Honestly, I would love to win this Trounce. That would be a really big win for us. Okay, so we both have 7s. I mean, if you're gonna crack, it has to be on the Clash of Vigor. I get a Thunderquake, okay. Okay, so nobody wins the Trounce because I reveal a 10, he reveals a 7, and then we both reveal 8s. We're going to play the Pummel and take a card out of our opponent's hand here. Like, I'm interested in, like, trying to push this as far as I can here. Like, I really want to do my best to, like, try to get back into the game. And I think showing my opponent the Pummel here will be good. Plus, they'll be looking at a third one the longer we let the game go on. So maybe I'm supposed to hang on to it because the Command and Conquer is coming up here. I don't know. I mean, if they draw a blue and they have like a 3 for 8, that could be pretty good. So they're swinging the 3 for 4 or the 2 for 4 here off of the Surge, and they're going to arsenal their Chokeslam that they showed us on accident. There is no way for us to... There is not a way here for us to swing the hammer for 6. Right? Because I can't. I'm going to use my Vigor to make a Surge. So I might as well just block. I could alternatively take 4, throw 8. So I'm at 24, and then I'm throwing 8, and then I get to arsenal my Command and Conquer here. Or I could block 6. I could block the 4, and then I could swing 4. Nah, I think we have to throw 8 here. Like, it's an 8-point swing regardless of what we do. Our opponent will probably block 2. Excuse me. Our opponent will probably block 2 here if I had to guess. Block with 2 cards. I definitely should make a Surge here because I have the Vigor floating. Wasn't even thinking about that, so we're gonna do this. I could throw the Macho Grande for 8 here and try to push through damage if I wanted, but I think I'd rather have the Surge set up and just push 8 damage here. I feel like the game has not been very kind to us right now. Like, the way this game has started, like, Talishar has not been our friend so far, but we're really trying to, like, work back into the game here and doing our best to, like, get back into this game and pushing tempo, like, trying to swing the tempo back in our favor here. They can block 6 here if they want, and then they can block 6 and, like, make a Surge and then throw the Chokeslam, which would make our Command and Conquer a little bit worse here. But if they do that, they're going to go to 28, which means we're going to block 6 and then swing the hammer for 6. So, I mean, like, it's a couple of options here. All right, they're going to block with Prime to Fight. So they just blocked with Chokeslam and a Spinal Crush. Okay, so they're keeping the blue Chokeslam here. They'd rather have the Surge and throw the Chokeslam here. I don't hate that line of play at all. I don't hate that at all. Like, again, like, our Command and Conquer, like, the value here is, like, looking really good for us. So there's one more Command and Conquer in our deck. So you know what we could do here if we wanted to? We could give Buckling Blow and Crown of Providence here, cycle away the Command and Conquer, and then we could make a Surge and throw Debilitate, arsenal the Pummel. I don't hate this line of play, to be honest. Like, I don't hate the way this looks right now. I mean, honestly, we could just throw Debilitate Pummel here. We'll kind of just, like, leave that up to whatever they decide to do here. So make a Surge and then throw the Debilitate. And we have 2 floating, and because we've shown them the Pummel, like, they kind of have to respect the concept that, like, we could have Pummel in our deck now. I know a lot of Victors have not been playing Pummel to this point, but the Pummels have felt pretty good for me. Like, I've enjoyed playing the Pummels here. Interesting. That's a lot of equipment. That is a lot of equipment from our opponent. Like, in a game that is, like, really still developing here. Like, they've definitely found a way to, like, take the advantage early on, but, like, I mean, I think because of the gauntlets of Iron Will here, I think we're forced to just, like, I mean, if we play the Pummel, it's for 3, so it takes a card out of their hand. But I really want to get like a crush effect here, so we're just gonna pass, and we're just gonna arsenal our Pummel and try to wait for another card that we can throw the Pummel on. I mean, this hand's actually insane. This is a 19.5 card hand here from our Guardian deck, which is crazy. You could probably talk, like, depending on what they do here, you might be able to talk me into just going tech plating into, like, Gauntlet here. You have to reveal 2 cards. You're gonna have to undo and reveal more cards there. It's tough to play off of, like, Rouse the Ancients is, like, tough to play. Okay, so they are gonna throw the Debilitate here. So we're gonna have to take quite a bit of damage here to be able to, like, have our crackback play. But I think it's worth, if I'm just being honest. Like, it's crazy, like, because, like, taking damage in the Guardian Mirror is not where you want to be at all. Like, you don't ever want to be in a spot where you are taking damage in the Guardian Mirror. And I actually really like blocking with the Civic Steps here, because we're going to play Spinal Crush and Pummel to, like, really, like, try and, like, turn off Go Again here. Not that Go Again is ever, like, it's not a huge thing in the matchup, like, because there aren't many turns with Go Again. Only the turns where you're able to play Zealous Belting or Rouse the Ancients. And we've had to pitch 3 of those cards that we have in our deck already, so... So we're going to come in for 9 Go Again. And this is actually kind of sweet, because our opponent doesn't really, like... This doesn't even really, like, represent, like, a Pummel, really, in a lot of ways. Like, this is, like, really just representing, like, this is really just, like, representing, like, another Go Again attack. But we're able to throw the Spinal Crush for 13, take a card out of our opponent's hand here. They said no blocks, which is interesting, which means the Spinal Crush effect probably isn't relevant for their hand. And then we're going to throw the Hammer for 6 here. So, like, we have a 19-point swing here. After, I mean, we gave up quite a bit of equipment. So at this point in the game, our opponent and, like, both us and our opponent are on the same level of equipment value at this point in the game. So I was like, it really, like, really try to save those for when we need it. It's interesting to me that, like, he's keeping 3 cards here when Spinal Crush is active. Like, I don't know what he's hanging out for. Okay, so he just wanted to throw his Red Thunderquake here, is really all he was after. Which is fine. Like, I mean, that's a good play. So let's block 7. Hopefully we win the Test of Strength here. No, they had a Macho Grande. Okay. I'm gonna pitch to make a Surge, and then I'm gonna swing the Hammer for 6 here, because at the end of the game, this is what grindy Guardian gameplay looks like. Like, just back and forth. We're just swinging the hammer at each other. We're just, like, trying to get to a point to where we can draw a Staunch Response or draw, like, a swing turn that's gonna try and win us the game. I'm kind of intrigued that they decided to keep Trounces in. Like, that's really neat to me. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is very interesting to me. So we reveal a Chokeslam. They reveal a Staunch Response. Are they going to crack their gold to, like, reclash here? I mean, there's a lot of cards they have in their deck that could beat a blue Chokeslam here. So, like, I wouldn't call my opponent crazy for making this decision if they decided to, like, reclash here. So they break their gold. We tie on the first one, and then we have a Staunch Response on top now. Okay, so that's kind of good for me, honestly. Like, probably means we're looking at like blocking 6, swinging the hammer, and then arsenaling. Man, Zealous Belting is such a good swing card for us. Maybe it's gonna have to line up a little bit differently here. Like, I think this is a block 5, swing the hammer, and then Arsenal Staunch Response. Like, I hate to give up Zealous Belting because having tempo is how you win this game, not by not by having Staunch Responses. Like, Staunch Responses is a way to help you win tempo, but like, you need to, in order to win the Guardian Mirror, you have to have tempo at the end of the game. So I think we're just gonna block this out. We still have 2 Tests of Strengths left in our deck that block for 4. So I think we'll just swing Anothos for 4, Arsenal Staunch Response. And we still have 1 Rouse the Ancients, and we have 1 Zealous Belting we have yet to see in our list. So we're looking at trying to... We're going to look at trying to like set up one of those off of a turn where we can... We're going to look at trying to set up one of those on a turn where we can like throw our Staunch and do that. Okay, so our opponent just has no blocks here. I mean, they obviously like their hand. They were debating blocking with some equipment here. Like, it didn't seem like they were ever going to give us a card from their hand. So... I don't know if I need to refresh here. Like, yeah, okay. So it is me. I needed to refresh right there. Talishar getting that little bit of a lag effect there that it gives sometimes. Okay, so our opponent goes to 5, which means we really need to like just keep our life total here and try to hang on. Okay, so 9 and 4 is 9 and 4 is 13. 6 and 7 is 13. So I'm gonna block with Thunk and Wallop here because I'm actually okay with going to 6 here if this is all they're gonna do. Okay. So we had a turn cycle where they take 4 and we took 3. And I'm just going to swing the hammer here. The funny part is like we've played both of our Pummels at this point in the game, but there's one, like they think there's 1 Pummel left in the deck. So our opponent is like playing around it here more than likely. Like I imagine that this is what they're doing. They're trying to play around our last Pummel here. I mean, yeah, like no reactions here. Okay. They give up their Staunch Response. So they put 1 on the bottom earlier, and there's another one. So I'm kind of surprised they still have the Golden Suns in this matchup. I mean, they're playing their Trounces and Test of Strength, so that makes sense. Jesus. This hand sucks. Well, we're going to need to get a little lucky right here. Just wholeheartedly. Like, this is just we're going to have a little bit of luck right here on our Test of Strength. Okay. And we win, but we don't draw something that really produces a lot of value. Like, I mean, this is fine. Like, we can just attack for 6 here and then keep our Staunch Response. Like, not the end of the world or anything, but I do like having the gold token so that we can reclash if we need to. It's also important because we could use it to draw cards later in the game. That could also be very important. Our opponent is winning the card advantage battle right now, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think this game is going to come down to card advantage. So like this game is probably just going to come down to like physically winning the game. All right, they have to have a Zealous or something here. Like, there's no world they just gave us a Quicken token if they don't have like a turn that like they know is going to take all the tempo here. Plus, they gave us all of their equipment. I mean, we can block Clash of Vigor, Spinal Crush, and then just throw the hammer for 6 here. We go to 4 in the process, but I think we're saving our Staunch for a flip turn when we need it. We could alternately, I mean, this only costs 2, so like we need to get this out of our deck. It's not going to turn on Anothos here. Okay, I mean, that's kind of cool. Does that actually give us a crazy good turn here? Does being able to draw give us the turn that we want? So this is going to cost 4 off the top. And when we pitch to draw a card, we're going to have 2 floating, which means we have access to 5 resources because we have the Prime to Fight on top of our deck. So yeah, this is going to cost 4 because we controlled a Vigor token, and then we're going to be able to come in for 9, which is immediately better than like just being able to come in for 6. Now the go again is irrelevant, but the gold token actually giving us a spot where we can draw into a value card and attack for more here. So our opponent's either forced to leak damage or give us like more than just 2 cards here. Okay, so at this point they're leaking damage and giving us more than 2 cards, which is like best case scenario for us. Yep, so they get a Might token because we have a Test of Strength and they have a Thunderquake on top. Now, the only good thing, like we're drawing the Test of Strength, which means we get to block the... Oh, this hand's great. This is awesome. We get to block the hammer with 1 card here, which is fantastic. Oh, they're not even going to, like... Well, I think we're going to pitch this here, honestly, like, with the Surge. So we'll have 1 floating if we pitch Macho Grande, and then so we don't have enough to make it all happen here. So I'm going to make a Surge. We're going to go Zealous Belting for 5. Like, this is a very good tempo swing for us. Like, being able to draw the Prime to Fight last turn paired with their awkward hand made, like, our hand very good. Like, gave us a lot of value. And now we're going to be able to get a lot more value out of the follow-up hand, which is great. Like, you'd love to see that, honestly. Drawing into the Prime to Fight for 9, being able to, like, and then being able to... Prime to Fight for 9 followed by a Go Again turn is, like, there's just... It's so good. There's so much value in that. We're going to go Test of Strength, then Macho Grande and Debilitate here. So I kind of want to go to 1 if I'm being honest, because they can't pummel this here, and they've gotten rid of the 1 pummel here. So I mean, the Rouse is looking real solid here. Like, if I block here, take 3, go to 1, and then I get to pitch the Wallop, reveal Thunk and Spinal Crush here, and then come in with Rouse, and then I can make a Surge and swing the hammer. Like, there's a lot of good value out of that, I think. Let's go. And I win the Clash, so their hammer's now for 3, which is fantastic. Like, so I feel like the chances of us winning the long game here have went up significantly because of that. Yeah, this is looking real good for us now. So they're going to give us 3 cards here, and then the hammer's just going to kill them unless they have, like, another D-React or something. Yep, they're just going to concede. That is a great example of, even though sometimes bad luck, like, falls upon you early on in the game, stick it out, keep your head down, and you might be able to. This game did not start out on a positive note for me at all. I had a couple of awkward hands, and my opponent won a lot of clashes to start the game, which gave them a lot of extra resources and a lot of tempo early on. Thankfully for us, the Guardian Mirror is won by grindy play and being able to get as much value out of your turns as possible. Our opponent gave us a lot of equipment early, and that really gave us chances to use cards like Staunch Response, Zealous Belting, and Rouse the Ancients to take a lot of tempo later in the game. It is worth noting that while I had some awkward hands early on in the game, towards the later cycles of the game, my opponent had an awkward hand or two, which really gave me a chance to take tempo and get on the front foot. So it's always better to have awkward hands earlier rather than later in the Guardian Mirror. The Pummels were also a very important part of this match because they did a great job in playing catch-up. Letting us take cards out of our opponent's hand while being able to push through a lot of damage is very good and really put us in a good spot in the mid game. Guys, if you see anything you think I could have done differently, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.